Well, we will beat them.
And you stay in Biafra?
Oh, yes, definitely.
More? Definitely.
Definitely, until the end of the war. Then they go into the next one.
Thank you.
Major General Ojukwu, the man who led the secession in Biafra, is on his way to seek political asylum in Zambia, in Central Africa. He is said to have with him 3,000 pounds of luggage and his Mercedes-Benz automobile.
At 40 minutes past 4 p.m. today, Nigerian time, Africa's worst war came to an end, that between Nigeria and breakaway Biafra. Major General Philip F. Young, left in charge of Biafra when General Ojukwu fled Sunday, announced the end on Radio Biafra, a mobile radio station. He appealed to the federal Nigerian leader, General Gowan, for a ceasefire to negotiate a settlement within the framework of a united Nigeria. The war has lasted 2.5 years. Around 2 million people have died. The peril that remains now is starvation of 4 million Biafrans or slaughter by federal troops.
We have fought a long, bitter battle, and it has ended in a victory for common sense, a victory for the unity of this country. And we have got cause to thank all the people of this country for what they have done to help to keep this country one. But I think above all,
right, viewers, welcome back to Ben TV. Your program is still Politics with KO, and today we're looking at Biafra Republic, how realistic. And I'm honored to have in the studio Loretta and Chimzulum. That's a bad way to pronounce a fellow Nigerian's name. You're both welcome to Ben TV.
Thank you very much.
So should I call you Ezigboh? That's easier for me, Ezigboh.
Ezigboh is my surname, so you can
yeah, so
Ezigboh.
Biafra, just put a case for Biafra. Why is it coming up now?
Well, to be honest with you, Kayode, just like the Emir of Kano had said, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, that now you have a generation of Igbo people, Igbo youths who did not fight the war, didn't see the war, but because of the continued marginalization of Igbo people and the realities around them, that they will now decide to leave the country, continue the struggle that their parents fought for, rather than remain in a country where they are apparently not wanted.
Okay. So what I get from you now is that Igbos are being marginalized in Nigeria.
I think to say that Igbos are not marginalized is to live in delusion, because it's obvious that Igbos are being marginalized.
Okay, can you tell us the marginalization? Give us site examples of how.
Okay, and we can start from, at the end of the war, the £20 policy, that no matter how much an Igbo man had in his account, he's given £20 to start again. And I suppose the reason that was given for that was so that they will never have the economic power to wage another war. But that's not a good way to treat your fellow citizens.
So, okay.
The case goes on. We can talk about the boundary adjustment, for example, where I think it was in 1976, where we had a case of a community like Ebwema in Imo State, where Ebwema South is oil producing, and for that reason it was added to River State and the non-oil producing one. So it was really starving the Igbo hinterland of all resources.
Okay. Loretta, I'm really eager to bring you in, but citing that example, the people of Cross River State would complain about marginalization because in the last administration, their oil wells were moved to Akwa Ibom State. Are they being marginalized?
No, Kayode, it is deeper than that. It's deeper than that. We're talking about the continued massacre of Igbo people since 1910.
Massacre?
Yes. Yes.
That's mass killing of Igbos?
Mass killing of Igbos. That cannot be denied.
Okay.
Okay, and so we're talking about the killing of Igbo people. We're talking about the underrepresentation of Igbo people in federal government. We're talking about the economic marginalization, the fact that you go to we know Igbo men are traders, they're businessmen, they travel, and we still don't have an international airport. We don't have any federal infrastructure that when you go to Igbo land, you can say, yes, indeed, I can see a Nigerian presence here that makes you part of Igbo land.
Okay,
and people are seeing this.
Loretta, what's your take in this? Igbos are being marginalized. There is mass murder of Igbos across the country.
Marginalization is something that is very spread out in Nigeria. So many ethnic groups in Nigeria are marginalized. My Anioma people say they are marginalized, and I agree. Cross-Riverians are marginalized. Many, especially the minority ethnic groups in Nigeria, tend to suffer this marginalization. And I think that it is because of bad governance, which has pervaded in our nation. We have not had leaders, who will look into the needs of different ethnic groups, because not the needs of the Igbo man might differ from the needs of the Efik man. Yeah. And the needs of the Efik man is quite different from the needs of the Urobo man. But what we have had are selfish leaders who serve themselves and not really keen in looking into the needs of the people, and they're listening to their hues and cries.
So would you agree to the assertion that Igbos are specifically targeted for marginalization because of their ethnic?
No, they are not specifically targeted for marginalization. The same marginalization they suffer is what other minority ethnic groups, but theirs is a bit different because they are one of the main three ethnic groups. But there again, my young friend here said something about not being represented in the government. Yeah. And I blame the Igbo nation for that. I have said it before and I will keep saying it. The Igbo man is the average Igbo man, not all of them, but the average Igbo man is politically naive. What they want is just give us as long as the market is selling, we are happy. Okay. They are not interested in seeking political power. They are not everything, and they do not have leaders. In Igbo land, the Igbo land is made up of, they are like periwinkles. Sorry to use that because every periwinkle has a crown. Everybody is a king. They do not have leaders that will stand out for them and really protect the interests of the Igbo nation.
Ezigboh, I would say that is one thing I admire in Igbo land, the fact that it's republican in nature. There's no absolute king. But do you take Loretta's point that Igbos have themselves to blame? You've been voting with Northern Nigeria since 1960. Till the last election, you've been in alliance with the Northerners, the same people Igbos claim have been the traditional enemy, playing second fiddle. Is it political naivety?
No, I don't think it's political naivety. I think if the Igbos want to be in alliance politically with the North, then that's fine. That's fine. If people say that we don't have leaders and every Igbo man thinks he's a king, I think that's wonderful. I think that every man is born equal. Yeah. And I believe that I cannot just subject myself to somebody else's leadership. Leadership is earned. Yeah. And if we have not had someone, and we seem to remember differently. When Nnamdi Azikiwe was at his prime, he was an Igbo leader. He was respected by all Igbo people, and that was because he earned
I would say I knew of Nnamdi Azikiwe as a young man in Lagos. Zik was more of a Lagos, so he had votes in Lagos. He's more of a very nationalistic than
no, that's not true. That's not true. Yes, Zik was born in Zungeru. He studied in America. He came back. He lived in Ghana. He came back, contested in the Western House, and came back. But it doesn't mean that he was removed from his people. Do you understand? Yeah. The fact that he's... we had, for example, in Enugu, Malam Umaru out there, who was the mayor of Coal City. Okay, it doesn't mean he was removed from his house of people.
There's a phone call because we really want to engage the callers there. And please limit it to 2 minutes, please. Caller, let me have your name and where you're calling from, please.
I'm Joseph. I'm calling from Brighton.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I want to contribute to what you are saying about Biafra.
Go ahead, please.
First of all, that Ezigboh is correct. Igbo has been marginalized. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I live in Lagos for like 7 years.
Yeah.
Before I could rent a house, apartment in Lagos, it was very tough. Everywhere I go, once I say I'm from because me, I'm not Igbo.
Yeah.
I'm from Igbo.
Okay.
They classify everybody in the south
as Igbo.
They say no, we don't want Omo Igbo. We don't want Omo Igbo. I can say I want a Nigerian. I want to rent a house. How can you not give me a house to rent? That is not fair. We are all Nigerians.
Okay, I agree. Thank you for that call. Now, let me ask you, I think this is from Fumi Balogun. It says, Ogundamisi, can your guest tell us where Igbos have been killed massively in the last 10 years in Nigeria? And that's for you.
In the last 10, let's take Kaduna, the Sharia riots, rather. You know, there was mass killing of Igbos in the north. When we had the issue of the Denmark, the person that, protest, you know, the cartoon. The cartoon, exactly. There was killings of, even remember the Miss World beauty contest.
So,
when,
okay,
so this
go ahead.
Even the Boko Haram issue, when it started off, Catholic churches at the very beginning were targeted. And we know that majority of Catholics in Nigeria are Igbo people.
Okay,
can I say that this notion that each time people were killed in the north, which is very wrong, but this notion that each time people were killed in the north, everyone assumed that the Igbos were the ones that were killed more. There is no way somebody will detonate a bomb in Ibadan and then you have more Hausa people killed, because it's a Yoruba place. So naturally, because you have more Yorubas there, you have more Yorubas killed. The same thing happened in the north. It's not true that Igbos are targeted. It's just that when these things happened and they are there, Hausa people are killed, Yorubas are killed, Igbos are killed, Anioma, Urobo, Ijo, Isoko.
But we have more Igbo population in that area, so it's not like...
In the north.
So my understanding is that the reason why there are more Igbos is that there are more Igbo settlers in that part of the country.
I don't understand by more Igbo settlers.
Okay, if Igbos are being attacked, if more Igbos are said to have been killed in Kano, it means we have more Igbo people living in Kano.
I think it's misinformation. I think it's misinformation because I remember the former governor, Kwakwanzo, at some point, he had to go to the hospital, you know, to take, you know, inventory of people that died. And we saw that there were more northerners, you know, so it was just misinformation.
Okay, before I let you in, I've got another caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Please make it quick. Tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, I'm calling from Southeast London.
All right, go ahead, please.
I just wonder if our generation should be discussing this subject this way. I would rather prefer that we look at the consequences of what happened, we take a lesson from that, and we want to ask ourselves, why Biafra in the first place? Why Oduduwa Republic in the first place? Why that in the first place? What do we want to achieve?
Okay.
And I want to say to you that there is nothing anybody wants to do that could not be done under the past administrations. I mean, it's like we have our individual homes, we have our individual families, we are able to do whatever we want to do. Yes, we have influences from whatever happens in government. They affect our businesses, they affect things about us. But let's assume Imo State takes on a program, a kind of a channel of development, and they begin to show us that this is what we want Biafra to become. Anambra does that. Which other states? Abia does that. And then we begin to see Biafra in the making through this state. Then I will begin to say, okay, that is the way the central government is affecting the development of this state. Maybe they will have been better as a republic.
Okay, thank you so much for that call. Now, let me put it this way. In looking forward, we have new agitations for Biafra. I want to have an understanding. What will the new Biafra look like? Where would it consist of geographically? Is it going to be Rivers, Abia, Edo? what would be the position of the South and the minority? Would there be a referendum, you know, to say, are you going to be part of? That is where I'm not clear about with the new agitation for Biafra Republic, really.
Yeah. To be honest with you, Kaide, and you may well know that I'm not in the forefront of the Biafra movement. So those that are pushing it, you might have to speak with Radio Biafra and the indigenous people of Biafra and Elders Council. But I suppose that if the people, for example, if ethnic people want to stay in Nigeria, they have the right to stay in Nigeria. If the Yoruba people want to stay, they can stay. If the Igbo people want to stay, they can also stay. There's nothing that says that because there's a renewed agitation for Biafra, that majority of Igbo people want Biafra. The only way we can find that out, actually, is by holding a referendum.
Okay, on the point of referendum, where would Anioma people, for instance, want to be?
Well, that's...
you were part of the defunct Biafra.
No, we have never been part of Biafra.
Okay.
Anioma has never been part of Biafra because we are across the river.
The river, okay.
Now, the United Nations Charter gives every people a right to self-determination. And the Igbo people have a right for, you know, to agitate if they feel that they are not, their interests are not well served in the nation. But we had, I thought we settled that over 40 years ago. The young people we have now they have now come up, like so somebody Namde Carlo here. Well, that is not his name. We are finding out what his real names are. And he has come out and he's living in London here and annexing the Efik people of Cross River, Urobos of Delta State, the Anioma people, and annexing all of us, you know, to become part of Biafra without giving us a choice, you know, without asking us whether we want to be part of this defunct Biafra, because as far as I'm concerned, Biafra was done and dusted over 40 years ago. And the issue we have, the older men and women who suffered through the civil war on both sides, I think they have a right, you know, to be sad about what happened to them during that war. But I will advise Ndibo to let go. They must release their young ones. They must they must stop indoctrinating their young ones. They must release their young ones to be part of Nigeria. They can't keep standing. You know, Nigeria is like a pot, a tripod with a pot with a tripod. It stands on three main ethnic groups. So we do not want a situation where this angst is carried on from generation to generation. It's an evil wind. I've
got a caller on the line. Hello, good evening, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, my name is Ezigboh.
All right, you're welcome, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just want to address the basic issues that the lady here has raised. First and foremost, I want her to understand that up north, you have areas that are called Sabongari, where you have high concentration of outsiders, non-indigenous, and that's where Igbos concentrate and do their trading. And that's where, whenever there are issues, that Northerners go and do mass slaughter. Well, I want to stress this point, that the Igbos are the most patriotic group in Nigeria, because they are the people that will go to any part of Nigeria and feel at home and do their business. So I do not want Nigerians to ignore that fact. Secondly, all the issues that led to the war, and by the way, may I also point out to my sister there that the Nzogo who partly brought the war to be is an Anioma person.
Please, Nzogo did not start the war. No, he had nothing to. You need to read your history very well.
To the mass slaughter of the Igbo.
Please, Nzogo was not part of the coup, and I stand on national television to say that.
Now, if you refer to Obasanjo's my command, You refer to Ademoyega's own publication?
The five majors.
All right. Sorry, I can refer you to almost all the publications that have to do with the Nigerian Civil War. They all pointed to Nzogu. So we regard them as our brothers and sisters.
Okay, I want to, because I want to let other people come in, and I think it's got a fair point there.
All right, that's all right.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's got a fair, and this is, well, and I assume my guest is from is Igbo,
yes.
is Igbo person, individual, and it's interesting that he's saying that the Civil War did not start in 1966. He went back to the major coup, the coup of the five majors, that led to the fact that northern leaders, the ones were killed. That's an interesting argument. So is it that the history should not be looked at 1966, but from way back?
Well, yeah, I mean, not many people will say that the war started at the first fire of the gun. You know, some people go even further back and say that it started with the crisis in the Western region. You understand? And the truth of the matter is, yes, I can understand why the Northerners, we cannot just sweep it under the carpet, that there was a coup. And initially it seemed as though many people were happy that there was a coup, but then the question was, people began to ask the question, what happened to Nnamdi Azikiwe, what's happened to Michael Okpara, why are they still alive? Ironsi took over, but Ironsi was killed.
Okay.
But and Igbo military officers were also killed. Now the problem was now the killing of innocent Igbo people in their hundreds of thousands across the country. And to be honest with you, you know, look, we're not here to say to propagate war, to propagate division. Do you understand? The truth of the matter is, like the caller said, the average Igbo person is actually extremely patriotic to the Nigerian cause, because it's the Igbo people more than any of the three major tribes that you'd go to the north and you feel their presence there. You go to the west, you'll feel their presence there.
Before I take the next call and we'll take a short break, let me say this. We had an opportunity in the Jonathan's Constitutional Conference, even though I wasn't a supporter of his mirage of a conference. No, nobody in Igbo land raised the issue of a Biafra Republic. Is it a matter of fact that generations have moved on?
I think generations have moved on. This young man, generations have moved on. We have just finished an election, and the Igbo nation, they took part, they were part of the great multitude that funded, you know, funded Buhari's campaign, as well as contributed to Jonathan's campaign. So they have moved on. They want to be part of what is happening in our nation. But we have some young people who are benefiting from this idea of Biafra, and they are just, you know, spilling hate speeches into the atmosphere.
I think it's a bit rich for people to tell the Igbo people to move on, because I can go as far as saying that
I think they have.
I think they have. I'm sorry, let me state my point. We can look back to the Second World War, right? And even up until today, can we honestly say that the Jewish people have moved on? Okay, because we're sweeping things under the carpet. Because we don't want to.
We have multitude of Igbo people living in the north.
Address the issue.
We have multitude of Igbos living in the north, living in the west.
To embrace Nigeria,
you know, and then a few are causing problems for these ones.
Okay,
to say, no,
I'll give you...
Wait,
quickly, because my caller is waiting.
The caller can wait.
Yeah, all right, quickly.
Because we cannot just continue to sweep things under the carpet and almost tell the Igbo people to deal with it. I started by saying that Sanusi Lamido Sanusi made a statement where he said Nigeria needs to change its attitude towards the Igbo people. Otherwise, they will face a generation that will eventually stand against the country. And that's what's happening today.
Fair point. Okay, let me take my caller now. Good evening, caller. Please, hello, quickly. Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. Please, I think your program is very interesting to start with.
Thank you, sir.
I am actually disappointed at the so-called people who claim to be Igbos of Nigeria. I'm from Edo State.
Okay.
I think those young boys need to be well educated about how the war started. They're talking about patriotism. What they are doing is not patriotism, and Igbo man is a dominant person. All right? The fact that they are all over the country doesn't mean that they are patriotic.
Exactly.
Because I don't know what they want, why they are talking about Biafra. Biafra is an illegal word. And nobody should be allowed to use that very word, to represent any part of that country, Nigeria.
Okay, all right.
I was a brother during that very war. And by mentioning Biafra, it irritates me. And those boys should know that they will not win anything in Nigeria as long as we, the Igbos, are not the only people in that country.
Okay, all right, thanks. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation and we'll look forward. Let's go forward now and look at the solution. How can we be together as a nation? And if we want to go, what method? Peacefully, referendum? We'll have that conversation. I still have Ezigboh and Loretta, and you find me for every time I mispronounce your names. So we'll be back. We'll be back in a moment. Well, viewers, we're back again. We're still discussing Biafra, and that's actually Aba in a protest by pro-Biafra activists. And it's quite funny, you know, I've been to Aba. That is the worst part of the southeast. The market, the IRA market there is a disgrace to the whole of Nigeria, but specifically to southeast Nigeria, that characters can actually march for Biafra and not march for southeast governors to fix such an important edifice. What's that all about?
I think, yes, we have to concentrate on the message of their march. You know, we can always bring the question to say, oh, well, but what have you guys even done for yourself? And I always use the analogy of a man, for example, who, for example, you know, he earns a good salary and he doesn't seem to use it well, but that doesn't give anybody the right to come and take the salary away from him. It's still what is his is what is his. Now, in terms of what they are marching, you know, in terms of their march, we have to understand, right, that, like I said earlier, the young people, we don't expect the 70-year-old men to be marching. The young people are the ones, excuse me, sorry,
we do not expect the 40-year-olds to be marching. You don't even find them there. These are all young people, young Igbo traders. That this Nnamdi Kanu, you know, Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay,
so we are on a program. Nnamdi Kanu, you know, so Nnamdi Kanu is using this, you know, he's sending out his account number, you know, and using this young Igbo traders, you know, to amass wealth.
Okay, Loretta, one moment.
That's what it's all about.
Do you buy the idea that?
That's what it's all about.
Do you buy the idea that the guy who operates this radio just takes advantage of people who don't have enough appreciation of how far the Igbo race has gone in Nigeria?
I think Igbo people have an understanding of how far they've come.
You can't say Igbo people. Say
no,
some of these young Igbo people.
I've said that I will not argue with a woman because she's old enough to be my mother. No, it does not matter. I was well brought up.
You're protected.
I'm an African and I cannot shout over
but you're protected.
So
now,
it's either I speak and she listens, she speaks,
or
I listen.
Okay, let me all Igbos that are part of this.
Okay, let me.
Majority of the Igbo people are not for this. For this present wave of Biafranism.
Let me put another question
across. If you're going to ask me a question, then allow me to
answer. All right, go ahead. Answer the first
one. Can you ask the question again? But
I was asking. I said, do you think the people who buy into this campaign for Biafra, and let me differentiate. There's a campaign of hatred that goes on this radio. I don't want to mention the name of the radio. Continuously calling other Nigerians baboon, calling Nigeria a zoo, the Yorubas are the pigs, the Hausas are the goats. These were the same language that was used in Rwanda that led to the crisis. And it keeps getting a lot of followers. The Utsus got the same followers. Are you worried?
You're missing the message. We're dancing around the topic. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is that the Igbo people have been bastardized. Wole Soyinka said this himself. Yeah. Wole Soyinka has said this. Sanusi Lamido has said this. These are two well-respected Nigerians. Instead of Nigerians to sit down and say, okay, just like we sat down after June 12th, just like we sat down during the Niger Delta problem, instead of Nigerians to sit down, and even that's what we're doing with Boko Haram, instead of us to sit down and say, yes, we know that our brothers from the East have these grievances, and how are we able to deal with it so that we can truly move forward?
So why didn't the Igbo, if we had this such problem, why didn't the Igbo's representative in Jonathan's conference mention Biafra or saying they want to move away?
Because, as I was saying to you, right, that typically the Igbo people want to belong to Nigeria.
So they went to a conference and pretended
so we are saying the same thing. The Igbo people want to belong to Nigeria.
Why
Igbo people want to belong to Nigeria. They are not part of this.
I respect you. No. I'm civilized. I respect you as an elder. But I don't want you to shout over me because it doesn't look well for us. It doesn't augur well. We're national TV. We can't be shouting at each other. It's not the way to speak.
Both of you, I'll use the Senate.
I gave you a chance and you failed. I said that I want to be protected. I have a loud voice and I can shout, but you know what? I was well brought up. I cannot sit down. No, I cannot sit down and be shouting back and forth with someone who is old enough to be my mother. If you're an African and I'm an African, no, but I want you to. I want you to protect me. I cannot be shouting back and forth with a woman.
Now you have the floor. Why didn't Igbo leaders who went to Jonathan's conference mention Biafra or mention the marginalization of Igbos?
They mentioned the marginalization of Igbo, and if you actually look to the resolutions from the conference, you will see that many of those issues were addressed.
So if they were addressed, why do we have this?
Do we have has it been implemented?
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to say. For us to sit down and talk.
I'm looking at the conference statement. There was not one single mention of Biafra.
I didn't say there was a mention of Biafra. You said that the marginalization of Igbo was not addressed. And I said that the marginalization of Igbo people was addressed. There were lots of issues that were mentioned, even things like, creation of the sixth state. Yeah. The elders went there and they presented a way that they think that we can coexist, because the National Conference was not about division of Nigeria. The National Conference was about a way that Nigerians can live together. But in the absence of making people feel like they belong, look, you cannot beat a child and tell the child not to cry. You cannot maltreat your wife and tell her not to leave you.
Let me give the caller an opportunity to contribute. Hello, good evening, caller. You're welcome to this program. Go ahead, please.
Hello.
Hello, good evening. Tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, good evening, Carl. My name is Peter.
All right, go ahead, Peter.
Yeah. A very interesting program, but please, can you tell Auntie Loretta to allow the young man to speak?
Yeah, I'll give her a stick now. Yeah. Thanks.
The issue of Biafra needs to be addressed, because this is one of the major problems we're having in Nigeria. Like the young man said, we keep on sweeping things under
the carpet.
Auntie Loretta said that the Igbo people have moved on. I think that's a generalistic statement. You can't really say that the Igbo people have moved on. I'm not from Igbo. I'm an Anyama person, like Auntie Loretta. Yeah. But I think the issue of Biafra needs to be revisited. It needs to be can't just be hinging it only on one Nnamdi Kanu. The movement of Biafra is beyond Nnamdi Kanu. So I think the issue of Biafra needs to be readdressed. The federal government needs to sit down with some of these people and actually discuss to find out what are they actually agitating.
Before you go, what do you think they're agitating, and how can we address these demands?
Well, personally, I mean, I think that there is so much injustice in the land.
Okay, name that is on in Nigeria today.
Well, the young man just mentioned one. It's only in the southeast that you have 5 states. In the southeast geopolitical zone, you have 5 states.
Okay.
Other geopolitical zones, you've got 6 states. That is an injustice. So, I mean, and when you look at these things, you might be thinking that they don't really matter to the people, but they do matter.
Okay.
And it goes beyond the state issue.
Okay, fair point, because we're running out of time. So now,
we do agree.
There's a general agreement that there's marginalization across Nigeria.
That's right.
I would, yeah, before you disagree.
What you're doing is you're sweeping it to say that the Igbo people are not particularly single, that they're not marginalized. And actually, it has even been stated that even the marginalization of the Niger Delta was as a means of stopping the Igbo people, because Niger Delta and its close proximity to Igbo land, to stop them from moving across there and recover economically.
Name 3 policies of government that is targeted against Indi Igbos.
Okay, I'll still have to start from 1970, and I'll start with the £20 policy, because you cannot start with rehabilitation and leave a people with £20. £20. Kayode, I've said this. I am an African. No, I will repeat it every time.
I think you're using that no, to protect yourself.
No, it's not.
It's a debate.
It's a debate. No, Kayode, if you want me, Kayode, I'm sorry, Kayode, if you want me to have a debate, then bring someone my age. I cannot sit and shout. No, Kayode, do not say this. No, but you cannot sit down and shout at him. I'm well brought up. I do not sit and shout at a woman and shout at someone who's even older than me. That's disrespectful. I am on the point, but I don't want to be interrupted. And I want you to. I want a civilized discussion, not an argument. I'm not here to argue.
I decide the format of the program.
Now, you should have said that to me.
Now, tell me two other ways that Igbos are marginalized.
So I've said the £20 policy. I'll say the boundary adjustment. Right. I'll say the state policy. The fact that we have we don't even have as much states as other regions. Right. I can say the even the second Niger bridge. I can say the Onochie seaport. Majority of Nigerians will not even want an Igbo man to be their president.
Okay, now how do we address those concerns, Loretta? Because we have less than 2 minutes.
Good governance.
Okay.
Good governance. If we have a leader such as we have now, I believe that the government will listen to the needs of every ethnic group in Nigeria that is being marginalized at the moment. It's not just the Igbos. Like I said from the beginning, the Igbos are marginalized, that is true, but other ethnic groups are also marginalized, but none of them is picking up a campaign, trying to get out of the nation, So let the Igbos get their acts together.
Okay.
And then we can move on from there.
It's been an interesting topic.
I'll have to round up.
Yeah, quickly, because we have less than 30 seconds.
Okay, so over 1 million people were starved to death. At the end of the starvation, they were given £20 to move on. Their properties were either abandoned or not. These are my mother. We can't say 40-something years ago.
The 30 seconds is gone because I have to round up. I don't want them to cut me off.
We have to move on.
Anyway,
but we have to talk first.
We've come to the end of the program, and we'll see you next Thursday. It's a hot debate. I've got 2 interesting guests in the studio. We'll see you next week. We have a part 2 of this program. We want a Nigeria that will be fair to everyone, Igbos, non-Igbos, so that we can have a fair country. Good night and God bless you.
Kayode, I think this is absolutely unfair.
Part of the confusion that we have in Lagos is also the political situation. And on Politics with KO, what we try and